Welcome to a draft through MTGSpeculation.com. I'm here playing Shadows over Innistrad pre-release draft. I don't usually play a ton of these, and now that the sealed leagues exist, it's a lot better to do those during the pre-release time, just because the rewards don't actually get you into subsequent drafts. But this pack, Incorrigible Use, is very good. It's possibly the best card. It's just a good card in limited. If you can madness it out, it's great. If you can't, it's not that good. There's a Port Town, which I do like fixers, but I think I'm going to opt for the Sleep Paralysis here. Just get the removal spell. This format is very, very light on removal. So you really want to be able to have a few answers to big threats and be able to go over the top. Here, Pious Evangel is fine. I think some people rate this card a little bit higher than me. I think that there are a lot of decks with a fast enough ground game that this is just way too slow. Weirding Wood I actually like. I think if I'd taken the Port Town, I would take this here and just try out a 3-color deck. I think this card's actually pretty good. It reminds me of Cultivate a little bit. Obviously, Investigate isn't the same as Draw a Card, but I think this is pretty good. We have Dauntless Cathar as well. It's a very good card. So yeah, those are probably the pick. I think it's between Pious Evangel and Dauntless Cathar. They both happen to be in white. I'm going to opt for the uncommon and just give it a shot since it's early in the format. See how good it actually is. I also think that blue-white is pretty good. Okay, so this is a good start just in terms of us actually having answers to threats. Paranoid Parish Blade is fine. It's not amazing. I found Delirium to be easier to turn on than expected. Angelic Purge is one very good way to do that. Otherwise in this pack, Pyrohound I've played against a reasonable amount. And the results vary pretty drastically on this card. If you're the blue-white flyer deck and you don't have an answer to it, a lot of times you end up just having to race it because it can get really big, and with combat tricks it's just very difficult to deal with. Okay, so we continue to get a lot of removal here. We have Silent Observer. Hinterland Logger is a nice little 2-drop in green. Blue-green is a very good color combo in this format I've found so far, but I'm just going to take another removal spell. Not a cheap one, but it's a removal spell nonetheless. Okay, so this is where it gets a little bit interesting. We have some great picks here. Confirmed Suspicions is really, really good in sealed. I think it's a little bit better in blue-green as well. Illuminator I like a lot. I think it's better than Drownyard Explorers, and I would rather have a cheap play. Although I would be happy with either one of these, and obviously they go pretty well together. And Confirmed Suspicions, I mean, it's a rare. Maybe I should be trying it out. But I'm sort of a control deck, too. I mean, I have 3 removal spells already. But I think I want the cheap play. Murderous Compulsion, that's a really late one. But there's also Stitchwing Scab, which is very good. It does indicate that black's open, but I think blue's open enough still. Okay, Trail of Evidence. Unfortunately, Sleep Paralysis is an enchantment. I think if these were two, if they were just like blue, somehow sorcery instant removal spells, I would be opting to try this out, but in this case I'm just not. I just don't have that option really. Ghostly Wings is a great way to turn on Delirium. It's also a great way to close out games. I found the card to be quite good. And at the very worst, it's a way to put an enchantment in your graveyard and bounce a creature. Well, 2 for 1 of yourself, but if you have madness outlets, it's pretty great to use it that way. I generally don't end up using it like that. A lot of times with the blue-white flyers deck, you end up just getting through in the air for a bunch. So Fleeting Memories, I've played against this a number of times. It just never really scares me. One thing to note from this pack is there's a bunch of green cards and a bunch of blue cards. And we only have 2 white cards at this point. This gives us our 4th 4-drop, which I don't think is that problematic. So it's worth taking a look and considering green. Going forward, it seems like it's a little bit underdrafted in this pod right now. Watcher on the web is much better than it looks. I've played a lot of, I think, for my, on Magic Online at least, my sealed event, I played blue. I played 2 drafts as blue-black, and then a draft is blue-white, and now I'm blue-white here. And in my sealed, I was blue-white as well. So I played blue in basically every draft. I think Inquisitor's Ox is just worse than what I have at the 4-drop slot already. So I'm just going to take sort of a medium card here. I'm not worried too much about signals. I've been getting the signal that white isn't super open. So I already have 3 enchantments if I end up caring about Delirium. I don't really want a second Ghostly Wings. I don't have really any Madness. If I had Madness cards right now, I would be considering a little bit more highly. I'm just going to take Jace's Scrutiny. I guess I take Press for Answers. Probably won't run it. So now the question is, do I take a card that could be played in my blue-white deck, although not likely, or do I just take a really solid green sideboard card? In case I end up in green. Wow, another Johnyard Explorers. I do actually like the Sibilant Snapper that was there, the 6 mana 6/6. I actually like that card a pretty good amount in blue. It's a nice finisher. Put Ghostly Wings on it, get it up in the air for 7. It stops everything on the ground, and blue-white doesn't have a whole lot that really does that. Wow! So this pack's insane. There's a Soul Swallower, which I would be happy to just pick and switch directly into blue-green for. And there's a foil Tireless Tracker, which is very much playable in Standard. And I think it's a better card than Soul Swallower in general. And I already felt that green was open in the last pack. There's also a Humble the Brute here, which I like. You know, some decent white cards. This is, this card I think is actually going to be pretty important in the format just because you need to be able to answer big things. And there's not a lot of unconditional removal. Or the condition on the removal is that it is just a bomb. So I'm going to take Tireless Tracker. I'm sure it's worth a ticket or 2 as well. And I'm just going to full on make the switch based strictly on that. So Lamplighter Sell-Off is fine. Lone Dryad is not good in this deck. There's a Vessel, which I would have liked if I were still in white. Rise from the Tides, we're not really, again, a lot of our non-creature spells are enchantments. So we're probably on an Obsessive Skinner. Is a card that can be pretty great. Green has plenty of ways to turn on Delirium, and in my mind this is very similar to Cold Wolf anyways. It's a 2-drop with upside. Oh, ooh, Rabbit Bite. Okay, that's really good. There's a Forsaken Sanctuary as well. Gone Missing is fine. Furtive Homunculus is a card that I don't like anymore. I thought it looked decent at the start of the set. This card I played in my very first draft. Didn't understand what it actually did. I thought it came back into play from the graveyard if you played a zombie. I don't know why I thought that. Card's not actually very good. Blue-black doesn't have a ton of cards that actually do that. Yeah, but this is just a Rabid Bite, I think. It's a cheap removal spell. Sorcery speed. We don't really have any sorceries yet. It's, fills out the Delirium side of our deck, which we're likely to get a couple more Delirium cards out. Wow! So we're definitely in the right colors. We have a great blue uncommon, a blue build around, and then we have two fantastic green rares. Sage is just better than an Inexorable Blob. I actually had the luxury of playing a green-black deck that had both of these in my pre-release, and it did very well. And this card really impressed me. I think it is better, with a card like Ever After, which I also had. But Corpse Trawler is great as well. This is a very good card. But yeah, I'll take the Sage here. Yeah, so we are definitely in the right colors. Byway Courier is fantastic. Necropod is good. I'm not in black though. I don't know why I even thought that. For zombies, I think we just have one. We're not likely to get a ton. This card's very good though. Byway Courier is great. Wow. Okay, so we're definitely where we want to be. Cult of the Waxing Moon isn't what we want, but Pack Guardian definitely is. In draft, I haven't found if Vessel of Nascency is good at all, but I've found it to be quite good in Sealed, actually, as an enabler. Wow, another Corpse Trawler. So we're a little bit... This is a deck where I would almost take a Loam Dryad. I need early plays still, but this is enough better than Stitched Mangler that I'm going to take it, and I'm pretty heavy on 4-drops. The good thing is that Sleep Paralysis isn't really a 4-drop, so I'm sort of at like 5 4-drops. My curve's not starting exactly where I want. Cryptolith Right, I don't think is really a card that I don't want to mess with too much here. I'm sure it's worth some tickets, but probably not many. I'm just going to take the Logger, get a nice early play. Yeah, I think we lucked out a little bit in that we opened a couple green bombs. I think we also identified green as being an open color. Even in the previous pack, we were already talking about moving over. And I like green-blue a lot. I think it's a really strong deck. This doesn't feel like the traditional green-blue deck. Usually there's a lot more. What? How? Okay, well we just wheeled Soul Swallower. So we're probably all in on turning on Delirium at this point. Question here is, do we want Kessig or do we want Lamplighter Solov? Our 4-drops seem like they're going to be good at locking up the ground, and Kessig's maybe a better finisher than Lamplighter, and I'm not going to be able to turn on the other half of it very often. So we have 3 2-drops, 3 3-drops. We probably want to improve both of those numbers substantially in the next pack. What's cards that are... And I don't really like the Wicker Witch. I think our deck is much higher in power level. Fork in the Road we won't run, I don't think. Okay, so Loam Dryad. And that's actually a card I've wanted to try. If I get enough 2-drops, I might run it. Just because it'll help me skip over my 4-drops. And there are even curves where I go 1-drop, 2-drop, and then play Tireless Track or play land for turn, like on turn 3, which is a pretty nice... Wow, and we open Jace. Everything's going right for us in this draft. There's also Reckless Scholar, which is great. Jace is the least exciting Planeswalker, but obviously opening Planeswalker is great. I've tried Call the Bloodline. It's really not good. Unless you have a ton of madness cards, and to be honest, in draft, and sealed, it just doesn't feel, and limited in general, I guess, it doesn't feel like there are enough. In draft, I think you could probably find the right deck, but you really need to open a lot of madness cards. I feel like the number of enablers vastly outnumbers the amount of actual madness cards. We got Traverse too. Wow. We got Graph Mole, Gloom Widow. I'm just gonna take the rare and try it. Just great green cards available in this pack though. Gloom Widow, Graph Mole, Byway Courier are all cards that I really like. But Traverse is really good. It's an early play. It's a sorcery. It helps me find. I mean, with the powerful suite of creatures that I have to think that it's the best card for me there. So we got another Rabid Bite, Confront the Unknown, Gloom Widow. So I said I wanted to increase my number of 3-drops. I think that's still the case. Let's actually look at my non-creature spells one. So Rabid Bite, 2 Sleep Paralysis, Jace's Scrutiny, Ghostly Wings, and Traverse. So I'm a little bit light. So that gives me what? 1, 2 sorceries. I have to take the removal spell. It just feels wrong not to take the removal spell there. I think at this point I'm comfortable cutting like a 4-drop or 2 for a couple more 3-drops and then cutting the Wicker Witch for something else. Okay, so we got Just the Wind, which actually I think is going to be great in this format. I think this card is going to be extremely good. There are tons of Madness enablers. This is one that you can cast with Catalog regularly and that type of thing. Okay, so here, Howl Pack doesn't do much for us. Weirding Wood is a card I want to try. Truth Faith Sensor isn't going to be great in our deck. I think we have a few humans, but we sort of have like some zombies and wizards. I guess these guys are technically humans. I've seen this card be good and sealed. I'm just not sure if it's there in draft yet. I'm going to take the Weirding Wood over the Just the Wind, just because I know that Just the Wind is great already, and I wanna try Weirding Wood. Nearheath is a really, really good 4-drop in white, but Pack Guardian is pretty good for us. Here, just the number of great 4-drops that have been available for us is actually kind of baffling. Just tons of Drownyard Explorers have been opened. I'm going to take the Scavenger though. We need early plays. And I think this might allow me to cut the Wicker Witch, although this is a nice way for me to get an extra Delirium. And I don't really have many discard outlets, so I think that this deck's actually going to have a difficult time turning on Delirium. Until I just get Epiphany at the Drownyard. It's super late. There's another Sleep Paralysis. This is one of the things. There's no single limb draft pods. So I wield a Soul Swallower. That was a 7th pick Epiphany at the Drownyard, which I think is a much better card than 7th pick. Think if you're a blue drafter, and especially with the Sleep Paralysis in that pack, I can't imagine that there was much better than Epiphany. I'm not sure if we end up running the Scavenger here. I'll take another look at, and this is instant too, which is actually the card type that we were most looking for in terms of actually turning on Delirium. I don't think we have any way, because if we could actively actually we have Pack Guardian. that lets us discard lands. I completely forgot about that. Look at this. There's 3 blue cards, 3 green cards, and a red card available at this stage. Moving Wall with Mysteries I've heard is good. I don't know if I'd buy it all the way. It doesn't seem good to me. And I have enough really strong non-creature spells that I don't want to run it. So for me, it's like a sideboard cancel. I think it's just a sideboard cancel. Here we're probably on sideboard still. I already have a root out. I'll sideboard that, I guess. Wow. So we got Graph Mole back and Byway Courier. I think Byway Courier is better, but I think that if I can stall out the ground, my deck just wins. What do I have that just investigates naturally? Just Weirding Wood. Probably gonna cut the Lone Dryad. I'm gonna try the Graph Mold just because. Again, it's an uncommon. I just want to see how well it does. I think this blue-green is usually the deck that wants to investigate the most. Wow, Just the Wind as well. So I'll probably run Just the Wind over, excuse me, Jace's Scrutiny. I'm probably going to hold on to the Ghostly Wings as both a discard outlet and an enchantment to get in my yard. I found that there are times when it's completely acceptable to throw away cards in order to turn on Delirium because the effects are oftentimes game winning. The impact is oftentimes game winning. Okay, so we were looking at Lone Dryad. None of these green cards. Broken Concentration is actually perfectly fine and sealed, but I don't think it is here. We could run Jace's Scrutiny. So I think this is a 30 card pile with 9 cards in our colors in the sideboard. 3 total cards, and they were all picked fairly early, and then this one last. Are the only cards that aren't in our colors. Alright, so for non-creature spells, let's say we want to try Traverse, Epiphany, obviously Jace. I think both of the Rabid Bites are going to stay. In terms of the instants, we have Just the Wind. I think one of these 3 will probably make the cut. I'm going to run Ghostly Wings, both Sleep Paralysis. Maybe I don't run any of these. I'm going to get rid of Jace's Scrutiny. That leaves me with only 1 instant to get in the yard, and then 1 discard outlet. Oh, plus Pat Guardian is a discard outlet, but only for lands. Let's get rid of the Lone Dryad. Scavenger's whether or not this makes the deck is largely gonna depend on what we do here. Maybe we just get rid of the Weirding Wood. Sadly, I think that's probably the way to go. That way I can run Just the Wind. Yeah, let's run this guy. I think the Corpse Trawler is good. How many zombies do I have? This and Stitchwing are probably the only 2. Maybe this isn't great. Gives me a 1/1 and a 2/2 for 4 mana. Oh, and I can't even activate the ability. It's actually not good in my deck. So we're on 25. Pat Guardian is great. I really like Stitchwing Scab. It's another way for me to turn on Delirium in the later game. I like the Drown Yards. I don't really want to go under. I don't really want to go under 16 creatures too badly in this deck. I could cut a Sleep Paralysis as it's just a slow removal spell. If I were to cut that, might not be a great plan. And cut Kessig. Go to 15-8. Just the Wind. The problem is I don't like running this strictly because I want an instant to turn on Delirium for my 1, 2, 3 payoffs, even though they're very good ones. Yeah, let's bring the Sleep Paralysis back in and try not to go overboard on this. So this gives me 16. We're missing 1 still. Yeah, here's the Sleep Paralysis. So if I were to cut Kessig, or like a Drownyard Explorer, which is clearly my worst 4-drop. Let's cut the Scavenger. Let's do it like this. I like this. It still gives me 1, 2, 3 2-drops, which I think is reasonable. 2-drops get outclassed really fast in this format. The only reason that I want to have 3 or 4 is that there are some really fast decks in the format. Then we have 4 3-drops, and then 8 4-drops. It's really the meat of our curve, and then some powerful 5-drops and other stuff here. This is sort of a flex card here. Let's go ahead and actually sort by color first. And I think that 7-10 sounds right to me. We have these 4s that we really want to be able to cast on curve, and then Jace. You know, sometimes it's best to slam your Planeswalker on 5, but oftentimes it's correct to find the right spot to stick them on the board. But I'll see you guys in game 1.